Have you guys ever thought of giving something back to people that admire your work? Maybe you can give it back and might help people. So this is that kind of moment where I just want to share something that I know, something that's special and something that's gonna help. Anyways, let me tell you a story. So what happened was this. So I have been working really hard on making something big happen. At the same time, I have been off the social media for a very long time, where I was so focused on doing something that's special to me. So I didn't take any projects for a very long time. I didn't do any music videos, short movies, or any vlogging for a very long time, because as a part of a creative process, what happens is this: I usually take long break and long pause so you could upgrade to the next level, right? So that was that kind of moment where I was working on my really important projects, but somehow all of a sudden one day I received a text on Instagram from our little sister Konjo Baini, because I've been on and off the camera for a very long time, and she kind of texted saying that, when are you coming back to the YouTube or something like that. And she sent me this whole long list of things that she admired about my work and how she wished if she could see more contents on YouTube. That was very heartfelt, and I felt that, wow, that's so sweet. At least, there's someone, and especially it's a little sister, and I've seen her work. She is very energetic, she's very creative. At the same time, she has this passion of doing something creative. Or she is a singer, she does some videos on YouTube as well. So it does feel so special that you receive this kind of text. That was very heart touching, and I thought maybe I can give you something back, or maybe I can give something back from my experience hustling out here in New York, trying to make it out as a filmmaker. So there is something actually that might help you. So today what I'm going to do is this: I'm going to talk about 5 things that I wish I knew as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, or you can say making music videos out here, having done a feature film back there in home, and trying to make out here in New York as a filmmaker, right? So I'm just going to share you 5 tips that might really help you. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to a point, right? All right. I'm kind of nervous because whatever I'm gonna say right now, I'm gonna say it from my heart, and maybe whatever comes from your heart are always special. I do believe in that thing. That's the reason my number 1 point, the thing that I wish I knew earlier or when I was starting out, was this: that tell your own story. That's how you begin. That's how you begin. And this is the easiest, because if you don't tell your own story, no one is ever going to tell that story. So you have that special benefit of telling your own story. Imagine, so we often make excuses of where you come from, or what you do, or your family background, or your place, and all of those excuses. But at the same time, if you think it from different perspective, you have actually a benefit of telling that story, because your excuses could be your treasure. And for it to turn into a treasure, you really need to realize that you are special, your story is special, and you don't need to look for any further. So that's the most important thing. Don't try to read lots of books or complicate the whole thing. You don't need this fancy start and all of that. That's what I did. I told my story, and I knew if I don't tell this story, the whole feature film that I was planning, initially I was planning for a book, but somehow the whole story will always remain in my heart, and maybe no one will ever see that kind of story. So number 1 thing that I would say is this: always tell your story. That's how you begin. All right, you are the inspiration, you are the light, and the world needs to get some lights from you. So definitely begin by telling your own story. Number 1 thing, very important. And that's the reason. Number 2 thing, now while telling your story, you kind of further complicate it by thinking too much. We often think that now I have a story, I have my personal story, I've been through a lot. It could be a very romantic, dramatic, action, thriller, crazy kind of story. But at the same time, we often fall for excuses. I don't have the gear, I don't have a budget, I don't have a camera, I don't have the experience, and all those sort of crazy things that pulls you down. So do not let that thing happen, because your camera quality doesn't matter, your budget doesn't matter, the crew size, the light, sounds, and everything doesn't matter. You just have to start. And how do you start? By telling your story. And how do you tell your story? I'm sure you have a cell phone to look into this video, or you could get it from your friends who might have this fancy iPhone. When I was starting out, I had this T-Mobile, that bulky phone, and I thought like, oh, that is so special. And the first story that I ever told was when I was doing a 3D animation back there in Nepal for 2 years, and I was just learning the Premiere Pro, editing, VFX, animation, all of that thing. And the moment I tapped into Premiere Pro, I realized, oh, I can actually put videos together. And I was looking for a story, and you know what I did? I began by telling a story about my place and how I felt my place is a heaven. And that was the first video. I just had footage from my village, and then I kind of started by putting that video. I edited that. That was the first time I learned how to edit, and I told my own story. That video, so it only received around 10 to 15 views, but that's how I began. Because when I put that video, I had that huge satisfaction of big accomplishment. And let me tell you this very interesting story, that the video actually got only 10 to 15 views, but somehow I had this huge satisfaction because I actually made it, and that was the first ever video that I made. And that excitement kind of exceeded the whole expectations of getting thousands of views or thousands of likes and all that thing, because that excitement was everything for me, and I made it happen. And that satisfaction of accomplishing that small video, my first video, was a big achievement. So your passion should always drive you, or not the otherwise of how many people liked it, how many views I got. I really wish if I knew this thing earlier, what happens? Now you have some skills, you do have some experience making all of this thing. Now you want to tap into a bigger market, right? Now you want to go to a next level. And that's when we kind of all struggle and we all get frustrated, No one is helping you out, you are getting nowhere, especially that thing happened to me when I came to New York and when I was hustling, but somehow you get nowhere because you don't know. I wish I knew about this thing. So number 3 point is this: do a free marketing. It's your tool, the greatest marketing tool. Try to do it for free when you're starting out. So as a bonus tip, what I would say is this: once you feel like, oh, you have done enough, it's time you start charging. And don't just charge, you have to charge really high. That thing, if you don't charge high, that thing won't drive you, because you have to be the first person to respect yourself. Do it for free. I know, like, it sounds crazy, but that's life. You've been putting all this hard work for a very long time, and people still expect you to do it for free? No ways. You need to respect yourself, respect your art, your worth, what you can do, what can you give to them, right? Always put your worth. If they don't accept it, you are busy anyways. So what happens is this: if you don't charge, that thing ain't gonna drive you, If you keep creating, if you keep putting lots of work, and you never charge, and you just accept, bro, yaar, यति पनि गर्न सक्दैन, हामी साथी त हो नि, and then हुन्छ नि. No, it doesn't work like that. This is crazy work, You need to get paid. How do you pay your rent? How do you support your family? Forget about your family or your rent. How do you support yourself, Just be practical, हुन्छ नि. यति पनि गर्न सक्छ तिमी, यति 1 घण्टाको यति चार्ज गर्छौ तिमी. No, it doesn't work like that, You need to respect any artist. If you're working with me, come up with your prices, Like, it's fine, We need to respect that. And in terms of Nepali industry as well, we need to, be more practical, We need to respect each other, and we need to come up with your own prices, right? It's nothing crazy, or it's being practical. So what happens if your client doesn't want to pay you your worth, right? Then it's easy, just move on, right? Because maybe you don't deserve that, maybe you're not eligible. So that's why I'm saying just move on, keep working on your craft, keep learning new things, honing your skill and everything. You just need to upgrade. Only then you will be worthy of whatever demand that you put forward. That's the reason my fourth point is this: always understand that filmmaking is extremely challenging. You really need to give more than 100%. It's never going to be easy. It's one of the most expensive form of art. You're gonna spend a lot. You're gonna gather lots of people, the crew members, the budgeting, everything. It's way too crazy. So you need to always keep learning. Only the masters, only those people who are master of their craft will get hired or will make it out. That's the reason. If you're an average person, people won't pay you. Seriously, I'm being very honest. And that thing has happened to me many times. Maybe they didn't want to pay me because they thought I'm an average guy. Maybe I could be, but that's the reason. You always need to learn. You always need to improve on yourself so that you become eligible to charge that rate or whatever demand that you have, right? So the market is huge. You don't want to be an average person competing in this big market. You want to be the master. You want to be the master of your craft. Remember, if you're an average guy, the whole world is competing with you. But if you are the master, if you are the guru, if you are the one that only one who can make it happen, you're exceptional on your craft, then you don't have any competition. Just keep in mind, it's going to be super tough, but at the same time, it's fun. I'm learning every day. Till these days, I'm learning. It was at the Union Square when I was doing a day job, 9 to 5, and then I was very close to give up on my dream because I couldn't pay my rent. I couldn't pay my I couldn't support my family. Most of the time, have always been broke. So it was tough for me, and that's when I started to gain lots of weight. I got frustrated with life. That's when I met Deepak Chopra. And I have always heard about him, I have even heard about his book. It's amazing stuff, So I met him, I recognized, and I went up to him and I approached and I asked him this question. Sir, I'm going through this kind of phase in my life, but at the same time, I'm an extremely passionate filmmaker. I'm an artist, I need to pay my rent and all of. I didn't say pay my rent in a way. I just mentioned him that it's getting tough for me, and I'm debating whether I should give up and take my job seriously and all of that stuff, And then he told, after hearing me for 2 minutes, and he told me just one line. That's it. He didn't say anything. Your art is special. Do not give up on that. That's it. Now thinking about what he said, I realized that you have to be the one to protect it. I came to realization that my art is actually very special. I'm not talking about my art. I'm talking about your art. Anyone's art. It's not necessarily art. Whatever you are doing, something that you are passionate about, it's special. You have a strong reason why you started all of this thing. Your passion, your callings, it's all special. And if you don't tell your story, no one is ever going to tell that story. Yeah, so always listen to your callings, why you started all of this thing, where you come from, and why are you so passionate about this thing, and why you started this thing at the first place. It's because you truly believed in yourself, and as long as it's coming from your heart and you're passionate about it, it's always special. So that's why my final point is this, that always listen to your calling. It's special. Whatever I just said, it's pure through my experience. and something that I wish I knew earlier. You know, I had to go through a lot to come to this kind of, you know, realization. And the only reason I'm putting it forward is just so, you know, I could give you guys some practical advices.
आज पार्टी सुरु हुने क्या यो भोलि नि साँच्चै अब त म मान्छेहरुको रियाक्सन कस्तो हुन्छ त्यो एक्साइटेड छ के भोलि फुल स्क्रिनमा है
That's all for now. Much love. Take care.